The Boston Celtics just dodged a major bullet today as they finally got over the hump, and what was supposed to be an easy win against the LA Clippers turned out to be a much tougher contest than we thought. Today we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly all right here on Celtics Digest. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you hanging out with us and tuning in to today's show. This was a wild one for a multitude of different reasons, but ultimately, the Celtics do win this one 121-118. The problem was the second half, though, as a 36-27 third quarter and a 33-31 fourth quarter really had the Celtics sweating late when they at one point had a 24-point lead. So overall, you get the win. You're at home. You're facing a horrendous Clippers team, and James Harden goes off like there's some positives to take away from this, but at the end of the day, this is just tough to look at and feel positive about. Now, there's some positive things to take away. Peyton Pritchard with 30 points looked fantastic. The problem was he was minus 15 when he was out there on the court. Not exactly what you want to see. JB, though, was the star of the game. 33 points, 13 rebounds, a double-double for him, and a plus 22 leading the team on the court there. D. White, 22 points, 7 for 17 from the field, 4 for 8 behind the arc, 7 rebounds, 9 assists, really close to a triple-double from him. He goes for plus 20. Neemias Queta continues to play well, 14 points for him, a plus 16 ratio. And then Jordan Walsh getting the start, 6 points, 2 for 5. Nothing really crazy, but he did play 33 minutes and had a plus 4 ratio. Overall, take the win. I'm not going to sit here complain about, well, they should have done this, or they got to do this or that. But I do just want to take a look and say this was very close because the Celtics, as I've said in my previous videos, they're on kind of a tipping point right now. And if they weren't able to win this game, if they weren't able to snuff this one out, I really do think it changes the way we look at this team. They're 7-7. They would have been 6-8. They would have faced the Clippers team again in LA, as that's the next game coming up. And I still do feel like the tipping scale is there, but there's a lot of Celtics fans that look at it and say, we really, really, really want this team to continue to try and compete and be able to hopefully get to the playoffs, add Jayson Tatum, and make a run for it. But there's also a portion where you have Celtics fans saying, we're not that good this year. I think that it's pretty obvious we're not that good, and I don't really want to risk hurting Jayson Tatum again by bringing him back as quick as possible. So in that light, if we're going to be bad, let's be really bad. Let's get some extra guys on our roster by using the draft. And maybe, just maybe, you can build this team and create a better future in a lot of aspects. But right now, you're able to win. Baylor Shireman, 3 points. He did have a very good game, plus 12 on the floor, so very good for his purposes. Josh Minot, he had 13 minutes, a plus 13. He was minus 13 in 11 minutes. Didn't really play well. Luka Garza, 13 points. He was the best player off the bench by far, 5 of 6, and a minus 14 ratio. So there's players that played well and that I'm excited for, Pritchard, Garza, but their plus-minus ratio it does scare me a little bit. At the end of the day, though, you did win, and the LA Clippers had an interesting kind of entire game, I guess, because it was James Harden and a bunch of random guys. Like John Collins, I guess, had 17 points. Ivan Zubac had 16. They also had Kobe Sanders and Bogdan Bogdanovic off the bench, both getting 11 points. But their bench was the real story of the game. Plus 18 for Bogdan. Brook Lopez had a plus 11 ratio. It's what you normally see when a team wins a close game. It's the starters having a plus-minus ratio of a positive for one team and a minus ratio for the others, and the bench having a plus-minus ratio of a minus and a plus ratio for the others. It's kind of looking at two different sides of the puzzles here. So you win the game. James Harden, he does go off, but he shot 22 times and only hit 9 from the field. It was really all free throws. 14 of his 37 points came from the charity stripe. There were some questionable whistles, which add to my frustration in some aspects of the way the Celtics have gotten a little bit treated this season. I think that these referees have been a little bit unfair, but that's neither here nor there. And ultimately, the basketball game is really long. You got to win. You did it. I do have to talk about certain players, though, because it's starting to get a little bit concerning, for me at least, for Anfernee Simons. And especially because, looking at it team-wise, you had a 14-point lead at half. You had a 24-point lead on legit maybe the worst team in the NBA, one of the worst teams in the NBA, and you only won by 4. But Anfernee Simons, it seems as though we might have made the wrong decision about keeping him, not keeping him. He was on the court for 12 minutes. He was 0 for 3 from the field, 0 for 2 of those behind the arc, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, and he had a -1 ratio. And I just can't help but look back to all the offseason talk of, well, if we keep Anfernee Simons, he can help us this year. If we keep Anfernee Simons, he can do this year. Well, it just doesn't make sense anymore because he's not helping us this year. In fact, he's not even starting, and when he does play, it's just not going well for him. And it's frustrating for me because I was a part of the crowd that wanted to trade Anfernee Simons. I was a part of the crowd that said, get him out of here. This is a gap year. Or if it's not a gap year, we need to at least use the right people into this situation. And ultimately, that's not how it went. They didn't trade Anfernee Simons. He's still here on the roster, and he's contributing pretty much nothing. Now, he's had games where he's gone off, and that's kind of the give and take of Anfernee Simons and the way that really his entire career has gone. But in games like this, you look back and say, man, I would have loved to get something for him, a trade package, and maybe they were shopping him and nothing came to fruition, but it's tough to right now and say, man, holding on to Anfernee Simons, that was the right choice. Looking at the team stats, we can kind of go more in depth on this. The Celtics did shoot 103 shots today. Their field goal percentage at 45%. The field goal percentage for the Clippers at 47%. 40% from the three-point, 41% for the Celtics, going 16 of 39. Free throws, a lot more free throws for the Clippers, which continues to kind of go upon my point that I think the Celtics are kind of being treated unfairly in that aspect. Seems like every game they're getting outshot on the free throw line. However, 93% on the free throw line to 76% really does, it speaks to a lot of terms. You do out-rebound the Clippers by 5. The assist more in favor of the Celtics. You had more steals by 2, less blocks by 1, turned the ball over less. All these stats obviously show you should win, but again, it's just hard because that free throw line, that charity stripe really does kind of command why this was a 4-point victory from the Celtics instead of a dominating 20-point victory or whatever that could have been. It's hard to look at this and, not think about that, but you do get the win, and Jaylen Brown continues to put up some career-high numbers. Going to have a video on him in a couple days or maybe just tomorrow talking about the career numbers that he's legitimately putting up and how he has. People want to say he's not a number one and he can't be a number one. He's performing like a number one. He is. People who want to discern that, well, guess what? We're going to have a video out for you tomorrow talking about that and why that is completely and utterly wrong. He goes for a double-double today. 33 points, 12 rebounds, obviously the 3 assists. Just overall, did what you needed to do. Really did what you needed to do. Peyton Pritchard, also a very good game. Thought it was a really cool picture here with Sam Hauser in the back. But you get the win. Obviously, Peyton Pritchard, 30 points, 33 for Jaylen Brown, but underrated is D. White, 22 points with 7 rebounds and 9 assists. Those are some huge, huge numbers to have. And the Celtics at this point stand 7-7 with another game coming up against the Los Angeles Clippers. They go to face the Brooklyn Nets. My apologies. And they go face the Brooklyn Nets again. That's what it was. They had a back-to-back against the Nets, not against the Clippers. So Brooklyn in Brooklyn, then Brooklyn at home. 2 games you need to win. You got to win those games, especially with the schedule coming up with Orlando, Detroit, Minnesota, and Cleveland alongside New York. Those are going to be 5 tough games. You got to go out and win these next 2 to really kind of prove a point and say that you are actually a legitimate contender. That's what we got for you here today on Celtics Digest. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you hanging out with us. We'll see you next time here on the show. Peace out, guys.